Do you find that having someone who is on the same journey or has the same vision as you do helps?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah?
I've tried a non-Christian relationship. It does not work.
Really? Even if they love you so much and they'll never, never hurt you and no.
No. It don't work. I was like, honestly, hand on heart.
Yeah.
I remember it was as simple as this. God said, let's just say, and it sounds quite, okay, this might be a bit advanced, but I'm just going to say it anyway. So you're in a relationship with a guy who's not a Christian, and is absolutely amazing, like perfect, treats you right, absolutely beautiful. And everything going for him, good work ethic, good character, good morals, and you can't have a child. And you need someone to pray for you, but he can't pray for you. He has everything else, but he can't get on his knees and he can't pray for you and seek God for you on your behalf. For me, that's just like, that's so much more important. It's so much more important that I have a man of God that prays, that loves God more than he loves me. Because we, in the world, we define love in a completely different way. And God says, he says to the guys, listen, love your wife like you love the church. So he can be an amazing guy, but if he can't love the church, he can't love God, then he can't love you the way you should be loved. So it is vital that you get a guy who loves God. Now, he might not be, a pastor or a preacher or a minister, but if he's got this passion and a desire to go after the things of God, that's good enough, because that's growth. And that's important. Everyone starts somewhere. So
it's interesting you say that, actually, because I feel like maybe God was talking to you the same time he was talking to me, because he came to me with the same.
Oh, really?
Because I remember being like, not just because he's not a Christian doesn't mean he's not right. And then it was the whole idea of, what about if something happened? And I needed the two of you to come together. And the only way you could defeat this problem or this enemy was for the two of you to come together in prayer. And he's asleep and he can't join you.
And I'm not saying that because a lot of you hear stories all the time where someone has met someone and he wasn't a Christian
and he's converted,
and stuff like that. And I think if people are in that situation, you just need to tread carefully. Because I've been in that situation where I've said, Lord, you will change him and it's fine, blah, blah, blah.
It's going to be a nice story.
Absolutely. But no. Instead, I got sucked in. And he more influenced me than I influenced him. And that was the problem. So if you are in that situation, you really have to protect your heart. And you do have to create serious boundaries, because otherwise you could, because love is whatever that love thing is, it can stir you the wrong place. You can have a woman that says I love him, but he beats her, but she's convinced that she loves that they're in love. So you just have to be careful.
I totally agree with that, because it can be a situation where you think, oh, this person, I'm going to be the one to change them. And I remember reading something on Instagram, because I literally live on Instagram. I remember reading something on Instagram or hearing something, and he said that the best thing to do is, if you are in a situation where you like someone who isn't a Christian, just be friends. And if God is going to change them at all, he will change them in that process of friendship. Don't get into a relationship with them, because at the end of the day, the worldly influence is a lot more frequent than the spiritual influence. Because if you think, you go to church maybe 2 times a week, Bible study and then Sunday service, but the world is constantly throwing sin in your face, and then the person you're in love with is also throwing sin in your face. So if you are in that situation, just stay friends, and then if God is going to change them, if they are the one for you, it will happen through the friendship. So but don't you feel that you're missing out on stuff? Because I'm sure you know there's some Christians out there who have risked it for a chocolate biscuit in terms of this. Like, Lord Jesus, I love you and stuff, and he's so fun. Morris Chestnut type, and so, oh Lord, you're joking. They're at that stage and they've just been like, they've just done it. So when you think about Christians who have done that, do you not feel like maybe you're missing out? Maybe you're overthinking it. Maybe you're just doing a bit too much. Not think that, no?
No.
Really?
Not at that I'm over. How do you mean? Like,
so do you feel like you're over spiritualizing it? Do you feel, because a lot of people say it's natural, sex is a natural thing, it's a gift from God, and if you're in love with someone, it's a level of intimacy that you want to share with them. So
for me, it's the word of God says, do not have sexual relationships outside of marriage. It's really simple. Don't have sexual relationships outside of marriage. Like, done. Why do we try and manipulate, change the word of God? Like, the word of God is the word of God.
True.
Don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for when freaks me out. I'm not gonna lie. But to me, to have that within marriage, there's a reason why God said that. And I trust God.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it means I have to wait a year or so for it, then I'm gonna do that. So I think when people get tempted, it's a lack of self-control.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lack of there's a fight going on within.
Yeah.
And you just I think there is this whole sense of, because you will get tempted.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that I don't sit there with my boyfriend and I'm like, oh, Jesus. I'm not saying that. Have you seen him?
Yeah, he's good.
So I definitely don't think that. But we're there to help one another out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very open with one another, very transparent on how we're feeling and what's going on. And I think it's important that you're real and you say, okay, it might become a little bit hard. Let's talk about this. Let's talk to somebody about this. You know, I think that's important.
It's interesting that you said talking about it, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of Christians don't. They just say, I'm waiting till I'm married, and we're in this relationship, but we're waiting till we're married, but we're not expressing the times where, you know, I'm actually feeling really vulnerable right now, and if you were to come over, it would go down. So stay away from me for a little bit. Would you encourage Christians to be more like that? So be more honest about where you are emotionally with your partner.
Definitely. I am not very open, and my partner is very good at that. He's very open and transparent, which is really healthy for our relationship. So he kind of brings that element into it, and I've seen the benefits of that. So he will say, you know, let's talk about it, let's talk about our boundaries, let's talk about, you know, what we're doing here, and so forth and so forth. So I think it is important. I think it's also important that each of you have a mentor, and someone that you can really be transparent in, because Christians can be such fakes, and we will talk about like heaven, earth, miracles, signs and wonders, but when it comes to saying, okay, I want to rip your clothes off right now. Do you get what I mean? I'm actually struggling with this. I actually need self-control. That's like super important for people to talk about that and talk about with one another, and if possible, a mentor that can really help you. I think it's important.
Okay, no problem.